Yeah, we in the building, cuzzo.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
We in the building, cuzzo.
Uh-uh.
How was your vacation away from me, from the pod? How was your vacation? We took a break off.
Yeah, we had
Hold
to
on,
take.
I'm hearing a super echo. Hold on. Okay, I see what's going on. Okay, there you go. There we go.
You got it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we took a little break. You know what I mean? But yo, the storm that's going on in down south, particularly in Florida, man, it's crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Prayers going out to everybody in Florida that's affected by that storm.
Yeah, it's Hurricane Milton looks like it is it's the most rapidly, like it's the, I think it was the first or second quickest developing hurricane like in the history of weather. Like it went from
Wow.
a tropical storm to like category 5 in record time.
And did it
No,
hit already yet? Like, did it pass through?
yeah, so I think it hit, it slid through, and it just caused crazy damage. But then you gotta think it caused damage on top of Hurricane Helene a couple weeks
Right,
ago coming
right,
through and causing damage. So
right.
it's crazy. There was reporters on news stations getting hit by debris. It was just crazy out there. So, you know, prayers and positive energy to all the people in Florida, and Florida, North Carolina, parts of Georgia that's been affected by Milton, that's been affected by Helene. Um,
Yeah,
hopefully y'all are back to it.
yeah. And we got family in NC too.
Yeah, so I was just
He
down
was
there.
just out there.
Yeah, I had to go down there last week to do a keynote and a workshop. So shout out to
How'd
the
that?
North
How'd
Carolina.
that? Yeah, how'd that go?
It was dope. It was dope. Shout out to the North Carolina Association of Independent Schools. NCASE had me down there. Um, they had a conference, and the theme was on hip hop. So, I was just glad to come down there and present some of my work and have the book down there. It was super dope. Then we did a workshop. I did a workshop on talking to them about how we could use the Drake versus Kendrick battle as a way to talk to our students about equity and social justice. So it was a lot of
Mm,
fun. A lot
mm.
of fun. Um, Shout out to everybody down there. And then also, yo, shout out to Knots the Ruler. The homie Knots from VA, he's a producer. Um, one of his beats came up in my IG feed, and I had to chef it up real quick and make it like 4 minutes long. And I was writing my keynote to that beat. So shout out to
No,
Knots for that one.
no
Word.
doubt. Yeah, Nas is a dope producer, man. So yeah, do hip hop need a reset? What you think? What's your thoughts?
Woof. Woof. I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation. So the the idea, and I mean, it's been brewing, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I
Right.
think the person that really, when I read the post that struck me that was talking about it, was the dude La Russell. Shouts to La Russell, artist out in LA. Dope MC, just really like just having fun with it, and bringing the bars back to that whole peace, love, unity, having fun. And his post was just like, yo, there was a time when, well, he was like, hip hop needs a reset. There was a time when if you made music and somebody covered your music, it was an honor to be covered by journalists in hip hop. And now you
Right.
just pay
Right.
somebody and they'll write up a story about your music. And whether your music is dope or whack, they'll take the money and they'll say that it's dope, knowing full well that it's off point. And the other point he made is that we're starting to be complicit in a lot of the behavior as we see some of these younger kids growing up. We know that music is a powerful medium, And so we know a
Right.
lot of these younger kids are listening to these messages,
Right.
and for better or for worse, sometimes they enacting those messages. And at what point do we need to be responsible for
Right.
the landscape that we providing for the younger generation? So
Right.
you know,
This is the like the age old question in hip hop. You know, I remember back in the days seeing hip hop and how they was treating NWA, and then they started putting these fucking labels on shit about what parental
parental
advisory
advisory,
or whatever
explicit
it
lyrics.
was, and that was a big deal, right? But you know what I'm saying? Before all of that, you know, I believe in freedom of speech, straight up and down. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I believe in that wholeheartedly, regardless of what anybody is saying, because you know, you start putting the cap on what people could say, it just takes away from the foundation of this nation. You know, saying like you could say this or you can't say that, and you know, it's easy to target hip hop. I believe because you know it's a black genre. It started black. You know what I mean? And yeah, so they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, look what they saying, and you know that's bad and X, Y, and Z, and it's just you know I just believe they're just making hip hop an easy target when you know this it's an art form. You know, it's entertainment. We watch movies with a lot of violence in it. Uh, Nobody goes at Sylvester Stallone for anything. Nobody goes at Al Pacino for anything. You know, and they're acting these parts, and these guys are, you know, winning awards for it. You know, Oscars and whatever else have you.
Yeah, there's there's a list. Robert De Niro, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like we can run
Right,
down a list of people.
right,
You know, Quentin Tarantino. Just movies with people running up and stuff, shooting the whole thing up, and you
right,
know, walking out with explosions and fire behind them, and they the man.
right, right. You know, and when you see them, even though his name is Al Pacino, I look at him like Scarface. You know what I mean? And not only that, he, yeah, true. He make me want to get on top of my game. Like when I watch the movie, it's like, wow, I want, you know, I want to get it. You know, maybe not in that way, but it's still inspirational, right? And then, you know, you got hip hop where brothers is, you know, talking about they hood and, you know, what they see, what they go through, or maybe what they do. You know, it's an experience for them that they sharing through their art. You know, um, and again, I'm gonna go back to you know being that you know it's a black person doing it. I think they're just being very ultra critical, you know, of that person, and I think people are getting it misconstrued um, because hip hop generally raps in first person.
Yeah, you you was talking about this, and when you told me this, it blew my mind. And especially because I'm gonna let you make the point, and then I'm gonna tell you why I was crazy to me.
Especially because you're an English teacher. That's why.
No, man, listen. I've been an English professor for 20 years,
I ain't
and
forget everything in school.
but now have you made that point about artists rhyming in the first person and what that does to a listener?
Absolutely. And I think that's where the backlash comes, right? Because on one hand, you have an artist being an artist who raps in a certain way that we call first person. So then we hold his feet to the fire because we be like, well, bro, you said that. And then the artist walks around like, yeah, I said that. this, and there's this thing about real. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yo, he, so now an artist that might not be that real, he walking around like this is real. This is what I do. And when his message gets across in a big way, and he's going platinum and gold, and he's doing good for himself, and then now he got the target on his back because he's good at what at what he does.
Right. And now he's got to play that character out to the fullest extent. What started as like a first person rhyme, and yo, for the people out there who don't know, first person is I, third person is he, she, or the name. Second person is you. You see second person in like instructions. But that artist who's rhyming in first person could be telling a story about what they saw one of their peoples do, or what they saw on their block. True. But then they take it on as, instead of I saw this, now it becomes I did this, I lived this. And yo, we know that character sells sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then how do you get an artist out of thinking with that mind state?
I mean, I don't think it's up to us or any of us to get an artist out of that mind state. We just let the artist be who they are. We just let them be. It starts to boil down to, if you don't like the message, then don't listen to it. I mean, I can't put it any, saying simpler than that. Because the moment we start, like, it's just, it comes down to censorship. We start censoring messages that we don't like, and then next thing you know, they start censoring all of us. Attack on one is an attack on all. So I'm really, I'm one of those people, like, I could understand other people's argument about certain messages that's being put out there, but let's be frank about it all. When there is a shining light of positive messages that's out there, the powers that be and the corporate structure of the music industry, they do not like to promote that. So that just sends a clear message to the would-be artists or artists that are out there now. They know good and well that if they start rapping about, positive things, that they're going to pretty much be shadow banned. Like in today's world, it's called shadow ban, right? Like back in the days, me and Prodigy came out with a record called Peer Pressure. You ain't really never hear that.
Yeah.
you ain't never really, that ain't jump off anybody, you know what I'm saying, mixtape.
But hitting them from the back had it.
Right. Now, as soon as we hit it from the back, they can hear us. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, son. Word. But those are some of the examples that. But so I'm definitely not a fan of that. Of censoring people.
So
fuck all that.
But then and here's what I think about. So and I agree with you. We got to be mindful of censorship. But I also look at this as what is the responsibility for people as parents to just be better curators, or to be having conversations with their kids about some of this music. Because there was a time when hip hop wasn't on the radio all day, and now it is, which is a beautiful thing. I'm not mad to hear hip hop all day long. The question I have is at what point do we need to think about some of the music and the messages that we plan at certain times? Like 8 o'clock in the morning, when we know everybody's taking their kids to school. There'll be certain songs on at that time in the morning.
Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Close your kids' ears, turn the station, do something. Like, I mean, we got so many stations that, if your kids is in the car, I know when my kids is in the car, certain stations I don't play.
Yeah.
I don't want them to listen to that. I just be like, you know what I mean? They gonna get to it later on in life, but right now, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, the guardians, the parents have an obligation in curbing what they kids hear.
Yeah.
Like they have an obligation to that. So that shouldn't fall on the artists. The artists need to be free. You know what I mean? But to what cost?
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying artists shouldn't be free. I'm gonna say a couple things. Number one, shout out to Kids Bop, because I know people gonna laugh at me, but on satellite radio, if you got Sirius XM, there's a Kids Bop station, and Kids Bop, they take the songs, and they'll do a cover of the song, but they'll switch out the lyrics and make it a little more kid friendly. So you still get to hear the song that is bubbling in popular culture, but you don't hear it with all of the extra hot sauce that's on it.
Oh, so what you mean they take?
So they'll take like they'll take any song. They'll take Taylor Swift, they'll take Bruno Mars,
Oh, okay.
they'll take Mario, they'll take what's the dude? I could see his face
They
around.
take any hip hop songs. That's what I want to
They'll
see.
take a hip hop song too. Yeah. Yeah, they'll take
So,
a hip
so,
hop
so they got
song.
a kids version of In the Club,
And it's a kids version that
of
you could
In the
actually
Club,
you
Bop
could
50.
listen to. You could listen to it with the kids.
Get out of here.
Yo, I think it's like 135 or something like that.
Oh
Yo,
wait,
and it's
on satellite radio.
on satellite radio, and
Oh,
this
get the fuck out of here.
is why I shout them out, and I'll never forget this moment. I remember.
Somebody said my kids hate Kids Bop.
Oh yeah, like my kids loved it till they got older, and then they hate it because
Yo, you say my kids hate Kids
yeah.
Bop,
So
but we force it on them.
so listen, there was one day, I used to drive my daughter to school every day, right? And this is when she was little. I would drive her to school first
Oh,
thing in the morning, pre-K, kindergarten, whatever, right? So we would listen to music on the way to school to, get her hype. We have a little daddy-daughter time. So yo, at one point I was listening to Hot 97, and we drive into school, and Rihanna comes on. And yo, my daughter couldn't have been more than like 5, 6, 7 years old at the time. Song comes on, and she's doing what she normally does. She's singing to the song, right?
right.
So I'm driving, and I hear "Sex with Me" so amazing, and yo,
No.
I almost
On the
crashed.
Kids Bop station.
No. This was on a radio station. It was
Oh,
Rihanna, and when I heard that, and then I heard my daughter singing the lyrics to it, she didn't know what she was singing. It's not her fault,
right.
That's when I was like, "Yo, time to highly curate all of the songs that's
Absolutely.
coming in your ears, because
Absolutely.
what like I can't be a part of you getting that type of messaging at that type of age."
No.
No.
So in those scenarios, that's when I get it. You know what I mean? I get it.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, do I think that we should say, Rihanna, you can't make that song? No, absolutely not. Like, you got to make that song. It's a banger. There's a time and a place for that song, right? Do we have to play that song though at like 8:00 in the morning when everybody's moving their little kids?
Absolutely. We got to play that. We selling something, man. We selling we moving product over here.
Wow.
I'm kidding, but hey, look, man. It's somewhere in the world it's not 8 a.m. and that's satellite radio. You understand? It's like 6 in the. It's probably like 4. No. 2 in the afternoon or something like that. Somewhere else, like in Europe.
Where you at? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the reset button that I'm thinking about is everybody sounding the same.
Can we reset the algorithm? It would be wonderful to reset the algorithm.
That's not happening. That's the Terminator right there. The algorithm is the new Terminator.
Yo, if we could reset the algorithm and bring back that idea of just like originality and dope music is dope music. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making the argument that there is not dope music that's out right now. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm making that argument, because I enjoy a lot of the music that I'm listening to right now. That's out, and I could run through my title saved playlists and albums and give you bangers, right? So the music is definitely out there. I think that the question is, why do we not get a diversity of music in popular mainstream media? Like, how do we reset that thinking where everyone is like, yo, I gotta make this song. I gotta make this song for TikTok. I gotta make this song with a dance. I gotta make this song. It's gotta be a minute. It's gotta fit into this particular parameters so that it can start trending, and then it can sync to the music and some sort of monetary cash flow for artists.
Right. And somebody said you have records that play but don't get paid, and you have records that don't play on the radio and get paid. Yeah, that's true. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's called independence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like independence and people that they don't conform to this whole system. But the reset button, I think artists are gonna have to just hear the criticisms and take heed to the criticisms, because it's not gonna be no real tangible, like real reset that's gonna happen until the criticisms come out and they hear it and people just stop messing with that music that just sounds like everybody else's. And to be honest with you, I know why, you know what I'm saying, a lot of artists are doing that, because they scared. They shook. They don't want to be, they scared about being original. And not only that, a lot of these curators, whether it be, a Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is, they looking for that particular music to add. So these people are making music so they could get added onto playlists. That's like the new mixtape. And, they probably feel like, hey, look, I'm making music that people want. It's versus making music that you want. Making music that's coming from your heart. Like,
Right.
The average artist, I believe these days, they shook. They, you know what I'm saying? They not, when me and P was making our records, we wasn't trying to sound like nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I remember, at the time, and the competition was fierce.
Oof.
Like for real. I mean,
Oof.
like when I look back at that shit, I'd be like, God damn, that shit was gladiator school. Like for real. And you had Biggie, Wu-Tang, Nas, and some more people, like, and man, you know what I mean? So I remember, listening to that and then listening to Mars and be like, damn, is this gonna stand up to this like crazy playing field that we got out here? But we never once, said to ourselves, yo, let's try to make a song that sound like this or sound like that, or we just was like, we tried our hands. And I believe that artists, they really need to, you know what I mean? Like, you got to just be confident in your shit. You know what I mean? You got to be really, because this is not it. You got to look 20 years ahead, 30 years ahead. Will you be remembered? Will you stick out?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Or is your shit going to sound like disco music? Because all that shit sound the same. You listen to disco music, nah, real talk. You
Yeah.
listen to disco music, you be
Yeah.
like, that shit was the trap for back then, because all that shit sounding the same. And you see why that shit just said, pew.
Yeah.
It was in and it was out. And not the shit on disco music, but that was the modern day trap version, you know what I'm saying, that we got going now. That was that, because all of it sound boom, boom,
And
boom.
and the
You know what I'm
crazy
saying?
thing is, and the disco classics that stood the test of time that we all know and love, those are the songs that sounded different from the typical
Right,
disco four on the
right.
floor rhythm that they were pushing back then.
Yeah, for sure. You know, because there are some that stand out, you know, of that era music. But will your music today in 2024, will it stand out in 2054?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of music that's going to stand out in 2024. It's like, you know, my whole thing when, you know, we was coming out in the early days and things like that, I was like, yo, even though we didn't set out to make classics, it was just that we set out to be different. Like, we didn't want to sound like nobody. And once we realized that we were successful at that, we wanted to keep doing that. You understand? We never made a record to try to be on the radio and X, Y, and Z. I would say the most thing that we did was like, yo, let's make a record for the shorties, you know what I mean? For the chicks. And you know, we got a little bit of pushback from that. I'm like, damn, bro, like you can't be a thug every day. Like we gotta show the women, some kind of love, you know what I mean? And that was our biggest radio record. And we wasn't even trying to be radio, you know? We was
That was
just like
the Hey Love joint with 112.
12. Yeah, yeah. We was just like, you know what I mean? Like we genuinely wanted, because you know, we started looking around. It's like, damn, we don't got nothing but dudes around us all day. Like, you go to the show, it's like, damn, son, like where the ladies at? Like, yo, we gotta mix it up. You know what I mean? So that was our motivation. So yeah, man, like it was tough. Like, you know, you go to a Mobb Deep show, bro, don't think about being the shorty there, because they not there. They are not there. So we definitely, you know, and that was the extent of it. Like, we wasn't trying to go crazy. Um, and I seen a lot of artists make this mistake too. Back in the days, like when we was coming out, artists just trying to, they was like chasing hits.
Right.
You know, and I think that's as an artist, I don't even know if you could call yourself an artist. You know, when you just chasing hits, that's not, you know what I mean? That's not real. You know, that's not real art. Like, you gotta just, you know what I mean? You gotta make people like you.
Yeah. Nah, and a lot of y'all hits, they weren't fabricated. They were organic, just bangers in general that wound up becoming hits. But
Mhm.
they were never made chasing a hit. And the other thing that y'all did that I always thought was really dope is that once y'all knew that y'all had a certain formula and a certain success, it was always our next album needs to be better than that one. But your benchmark was always doing an album better than the last Mobb Deep album, not doing an album better than XYZ ABC
Right,
person's album.
right. And I think that that's what artists of today should put into their formula. You know what I'm saying? It's like trying to outdo themselves instead of trying to outdo or sound like whatever is of today's music. It's like, nah, just be you. You know, and so now we get all these criticisms, you know, towards the genre, and everybody trying to shit on hip hop and say, uh, what we saying, like, does hip hop need a reset? Like, you know, look, even though I could understand the question, um, I kind of get a little offended about that, because I'm really, um, like, hip hop is my baby. Like, I
Mm,
really fuck with hip hop, old, new, future. I fuck with hip hop. Like, you know what I mean? So when people is questioning hip hop, uh, it could be a valid question, but I'm real defensive about that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm whether right or wrong. I'm like a little defensive because is this a conversation that we should have in private? You understand? Like, is this a conversation that we should just have amongst ourselves and not let, the outside give them ammunition to attack us, even when we're wrong?
So so then my question to you is, when you say, is this a conversation we should have ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Who's ourselves? What
Um,
what, what part of the
okay.
culture is that?
I mean, look, it's an all-inclusive culture,
Right.
right? What I'm saying is, like, there should be private forums, you know, instead of just going out there and be like, oh man, hip hop sucks, this shit is whack, and we shitting on our youngins for doing what they doing. It's because we only speak to them when we want to criticize them, but we don't want to pull a coat in private. You know what I'm saying? So we
Mm.
criticize them in public, but don't want to pull a coat in private. You know, and I think that falls on the shoulders of the older generation of artists that come before them. We bump into these kids. You know what I'm saying? We bump into them, and hey, look, it's nothing. It's easy to be like, yo, let me holler at you for a second and be like, yo, your music, that shit popping, but you might want to think about, what I'm saying, attacking it this way. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And then they might have some insight for us. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like, if we all just speaking to each other and connecting instead of just criticizing them, like of course, like, look, in the '90s, there was a lot of music that I didn't fucking like. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it really was. Like, everybody be saying like the golden era, the golden era. I'd be like, yeah, some of that shit wasn't golden. Yeah, just real talk. A lot of that shit was
Keeping it a thought.
trash.
There was a lot of music. We were fortunate because there was a lot of good music, but there was also a lot of trash. There was
Let me tell you this. Let me just say this. Prodigy, that dude didn't like a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I felt this sentiment. I was like, and even Nas, like, early on, you know, when I would be around Nas before we all even got on or anything like that. Like, yo, we knew a lot of rap was trash. Like, we knew it was trash. Like, we was like, yo, this shit is trash. You can ask Wiz, like, if your lyrics wasn't dope, like, I think like 95% of that shit was trash that was out. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you could go back and you look, and there's probably only like 5 groups that you could really mention representing that era, and then a couple more, that stood out. But I think, you know, behind closed doors, we was letting people rock. You know what I mean? We you know what I'm saying? It's like everybody can't be dope.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody can't be a Rakim or a Nas, and we just had to come to that realization. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But can you hang in there? Can you you know what I'm saying? Without getting knocked out the ropes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Can you have
performing to
some
the canvas.
longevity and be consistent and
Right.
get better as
And
time
is
goes
and is
on?
your and is your and is your heart in it?
In the right place. Yeah.
Is your heart there? Are you just here being a fake gangster? Are you here just saying shit that people want to hear?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Are you getting? Is your hand getting caught in that cookie jar? Because we know that the record companies are gonna exploit the shit out of that.
Right. Now, do you think we need to go back? I mean, record companies just laid off. Every time you look, they downsizing by like 50%, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think we need to go back to we had A&R, there was gatekeepers at certain points. There was people who were sifting through that music to
Right.
to at least help us to get to what made sense to listen to. You think we need to go back to that era?
No, that's not happening no more. the A&R era and things of that nature. I don't think that's gonna happen because I just think that we all need to be our own A&Rs, or just have dope people around you. I
Mm.
don't, yeah, the record labels now they just laid off like a million thousand people, you know, but and they bringing in, uh, you know, this era of A&R that know how to navigate today's market for promoting music and making sure that it gets across because we all know that music is really not the main product anymore. It's everything around the music like that helps you sell the other product.
Right.
Like your music is your promotional item. You know what I mean? Um, so they have new people that they're gonna usher in that's gonna do that. So I don't think they're gonna go back to the old system of A&Rs because the new A&R is social media, right? If an artist could get popping, if he could get through social media, if he could get popping with all the views and the likes and build a following for himself, the I think the public is the new A&R. The public is who's gonna thrust you into the spotlight now. And I think that's probably even better than just having two people or three or four or five at a record company saying this is it. Nah, the public is going to let you know if you pop it or not. So it's and that goes to when a lot of artists they want to get on and they don't know how to get on. Look, you got to hit social media and you got to start promoting yourself because the labels are not going to sign these artists unless if they got a follow. That's I mean that's like 99.9% of the labels now. They are not gonna sign these artists unless if you got a following. They looking at your algorithm. Like what's your algorithm? They want to know how many followers you got on IG, TikTok, whatever. And that's just the name of the game now.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're gonna go back to that. There's no reset that's gonna go back to that. But the artists of today definitely need to know that hey man, stop being lazy, man. Stop being lazy, yo. Like make some shit. You know what I mean? There'll never be another Biggie and another Wu Tang or nothing like that. But god damn, like somebody come, you know what I mean? Or another Eminem or like somebody gotta come out and be like that just to
Yeah,
shine.
that beacon for this generation. And it's tough, like to a certain extent. I feel bad for this generation of artists because I think the thing that you have the thing that you had that this generation doesn't have today is because y'all didn't have social media, there was a mystique around Mobb Deep.
Hmm.
You only saw Mobb Deep in the video, or if you went to a show, maybe if you lived in the neighborhood, you might get a glimpse. You might see Hab at this store, you might see P over here, but for the most part, you weren't catching artists 24/7, 365.
Right.
So
So,
that allowed for there to be some mystery and some intrigue, and then when you have dope music and there's mystery and intrigue, now you hear the music's dope. Now I want to see the video. I want to see who this person is. I want to see what they look like, what they represent. I want to go see what their live show looks like. That's a draw to the music when the music's dope. A lot of artists now is the social media following is more important than the music. Or or how they can make themselves go viral becomes more important. Like that's more of a lead up to the album than a single is to the album.
yeah, I mean, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? That's true. For the most part. But hey, that's the landscape. You know what I'm saying of today. I mean, you can't fight the landscape unless somebody comes with some kind of new kind of way of how they're gonna curate their music. So uh, is no fighting that. But you know, we all know that music they made it free. You know what I'm saying? They made the shit free. So you're not even, unless if artists are selling direct to consumer on their own platform, you know, then I think they could really back in, of today's situation with the music, because they already paid for your music, bro. You
Mm,
know, they already, why they gonna buy it? They could just go to, Apple Music, and the shit is just like right there. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
sitting there.
Shit, we need to reset the whole way the industry. Period. You know what I'm saying? Reset the fucking industry. But man, that shit is, you know, it's a conversation. It's definitely a conversation that we need to have. You know what I mean?
Now, I'm wondering if, and I think I don't know if we touched on this part. And we kind of did. We kind of touched on, yeah, we kind of touched on that first person artist, but then there's also that first person writing for artists. But then at what point, in this music, when we think about this reset, at what point do we need to differentiate between artists that are either narrating or reporting the things that they seeing in their music versus the artists that are just glorifying some of the foolishness that's being presented in the music?
I mean, I think we got to leave that up to the fans, kid. We got to leave that up to the fans. But you know, sometimes I think we being tricked out here of what's dope and what's not dope. We just being tricked because a lot of the shit that's not dope is being pumped in front of our face like crazy.
Mm,
We talked about that shit weeks ago with the streaming farms.
right.
We talked about that, and you thinking, and yo, like, it is what it is. Like, I think that a lot of even dope, successful artists, they fucking with the numbers too. You know what I mean? The label is just fucking with it a little bit to give it a push. So I don't think it's nothing controversial there, as I probably initially thought. But that's just today's game. But yo, did you hear about the dude that the feds locked up for having, like, I think he had a streaming farm, and I think he did something where he signed up for ASCAP, and he put out like some kind of fake song, and he made it where it had like 10 million views. The
Wow.
shit had like 10 million views, 20 million views,
So then
and he collected millions of dollars off of that. They went and locked his ass up.
I mean, technically, that's fraud.
Son, I didn't think that could happen. That's crazy. I'm just remembering that shit right now. Somebody sent me the article, or I saw it somewhere online or some shit. They really locked somebody up for that fake
No,
streaming shit because he was getting checks.
but have so think about it like this. Think about it outside of the way we normally think about it, right?
Yeah.
ASCAP is an organization that pays you based on a particular equation that has to do with the way your music is played, right? When you manipulate that equation, you're technically defrauding that company. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, good,
No,
bad,
for sure. No,
right?
no. In this instance, for sure. Like, I agree.
And
No, I agree.
if you're now talking about millions, like you should cap it to six figures, whatever it was, because you're talking about millions. You know they coming for you, and it's based on a streaming farm. Like, they not gonna let that ride.
Wow. Yeah.
They're not gonna let that ride.
I remember seeing that story not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Wow, this is what motherfuckers is out here doing." And he was getting a check. You understand? And the record companies are doing it legally.
Yeah.
I mean, what's different from what he did to what the record companies is doing?
I wonder if the record companies. Now I don't know. I wonder if the record companies, when they're doing that, I wonder if they don't count those particular, whatever the spins or the airplay, whatever that algorithm is now that they use to generate ASCAP publishing money. I wonder if the record companies don't count it in that particular part of the equation. I don't know. Record companies strike me as, they companies, they businesses. So I know they out to make their money. They not here,
Absolutely.
they not nonprofits. But I would wonder, I would really wonder. But I'm sure they was like, nah, we not letting this one independent streaming farm cash out for themselves. They can only cash out for us.
I want right. I want to know how the fuck they catch him. That's what I want to know. Who snitched on him? You know what I mean? Like that. Like how the fuck you get caught doing that? How you get caught doing that? Because it ain't like you got to go to ASCAP and ask for your check. You know what I'm saying? So how the fuck did it? ASCAP must have been like, nah, son.
This
You know what I'm saying?
crazy. Like it looks crazy.
Yeah, something looked funny over here, and they just bagged your boy. Like they bagged him, but yeah,
And
you know.
not and yo, when you think about it, like if
Somebody
those
said, you gotta
ASCAP
respect the
numbers
hustle.
look crazy high, but then you turn on a radio station, whether it's regular radio, satellite radio, you can't find this person, you don't see nothing.
But
You
listen,
do a Google search on
hold
YouTube,
on.
you don't see them.
No, but hold on. Radio don't count no more. You know what I'm saying? Radio don't even count really no more. Like how many people really listen to the radio? You understand? It's really online. Like, you know what I mean? Like you only listen to radio when you get in your car. You know, and that's really a short amount of time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
or when you in the store, or when you in the mall,
How many
or
times
I
we in
mean,
the store in the malls? You know what I mean? We work home outside the whatever in the clubs or whatever. That's where you hear the music. But so I think really they cracking down on that because that's where most of the people are hearing their music is online. So they not playing. They got their eyeballs on that. You know what I'm saying? They got their radio got their own little problem they got to solve. Like you can hear one song 10 times in like 2 hours. We know what that's about.
yeah.
We know what that's about. And I'm not even gonna accuse them of anything. You know what I'm saying? But these motherfuckers found a new hustle online. They like, what? I could buy like 1 million cell phones and play them all at the same time and get a check. Come on, that's too easy. That's too easy, son. And then and how many times we got it, and when you see an artist with a lot of streams on a certain song, it make you listen to it.
Right, and that's
You know
what
what
I
I'm saying?
was. But if you can't find that song now, if I go to YouTube, I do a Google search for that song and I pull it up on YouTube and I see it's got 537 views.
That's different.
But now I gotta cut you an ASCAP check for 7 figures. Nah, the math ain't mathing.
The math is not mathing. That's kind of different. Where I was thinking about some other shit that I seen online about the streams. I forgot when I remember what that shit is. I'm gonna say it, but yeah, the shit makes you listen to the artist. So I think the record companies they do it to get you to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And I that's cool, right? Fuck it. That's all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's too nefarious, but shots out to ASCAP for what I'm saying, protecting these motherfuckers turned it to the FBI on them like real quick. You know what I'm saying? The fucking ASCAP, they are not playing no games. Don't fuck with ASCAP, y'all, man. For real.
Yeah,
But,
and
go ahead.
the music game is so upside down that I'm sure things can't be looking too great for ASCAP neither. So when they have to cut a check like that, they want to know who they cutting it to. So
I mean, Yeah, they probably asked for his ID, and you know they knew they saw it was a fake ID. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
They saw
mm,
this it was kind of fake. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm, mm.
But to the artists out there, man, be careful with those fake streams because ASCAP is fucking watching you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like they
because then what's the next step? If you're doing that for somebody who's faking a song, right? What happens when an artist who's really an artist is using the streaming farms to get their weight up?
they
Is
just use
ASCAP
more.
gonna run up on them?
I don't know. Good question. Good question. But I mean, as long as people provide the service for you to up your streams, people gonna use the shit. You know. But it sounds like Just Do It said, ASCAP is protecting the brands. ASCAP is protecting the brands, and you know, ASCAP ASCAP pay pretty good, man. To be honest with you, ASCAP. Every time I was hearing about the Spotify shit with the 0.3%,
Yeah.
that shit is unbelievable, kid. Like you got to sell. I mean, you got to stream 1,000,000 times just to see 25K or some shit like that. I don't know the fucking numbers, but I know it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of these labels are just firing like hundreds of fucking people because the money's not really there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these record execs, they got really comfortable and
Mm,
they don't even know what the fuck they doing. You know,
mm,
they've been there for 20 years. Meanwhile, the kid that just rolled out of bed 5 years ago is killing them, you know? And I think a lot of these artists are just doing what works, you know, and that's why we here talking about like do hip hop need a reset. The artists, man, they just doing what's work. Maybe it might make it better for the shine that shining moment of an artist to actually shine through. And fuck it, you know, if you know, if you don't care as an artist about your shit, who am I? You know, to
that's
tell
real.
you like, who am I to be like, yo, man, your shit sound like everybody else. Let them motherfuckers be. You know what I mean? Because they going to be sifted out anyway. You know what I mean? It's just, so, but it's just sad to see because we love the art, the genre. You know what I'm saying? We love the culture. It's just hard to see, and I think, uh, does hip hop need a reset? It's going to reset itself. You
Mhm.
know, because eventually, you know, the listeners, the fans, the supporters, they're gonna be like, yo, this is BS. This is bullshit. Like, you know, people know. You know what I mean? Like my son, um, I know what kind of music he like, and I'm proud of the music that he like. Actually, I'm not gonna say the artist, but it's a dope artist. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm like, oh, he got an ear. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
and so that just kind of gives you hope. Like a lot of these, we may not know it, but a lot of these youngins, they have a good ear. We're only seeing what the you know, the gatekeepers are promoting to us, but behind it all, there's a movement of kids that's really actually listening to that good shit, and a lot of them are reaching back into the 90s because the 90s to them is what the 70s was to us.
us.
You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? So a lot of the kids, they reaching back and they fucking with that 90s shit. Now, when they make their music, it might not sound like, you know, our shit, but the influence is
Right.
helping them. The influence is helping them make their version of good music. And even when they stop listening to it, like when they turn it off, you know, they'll turn back on Travis Scott or whatever it is. But now they have, you know, that insight, that mindset of what made artists really dope. So we really can't count that part of today's youngins out because a lot of them, you know, they are really They fuck with the real shit, but you're not gonna see it, up here because it doesn't really make them any money for them to be like, yo, let's start pumping this 90s shit. They wanna, play this, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying today? Whatever it is, I'm not gonna shit on it, but yeah, reset. It's gonna reset itself. So we have no fear, my peoples, and then not to mention we got a shitload of 90s to listen to, so we really shouldn't complain on the music that's out now, because if you don't like it, you know what you could do.
And yo, not for
Turn this
nothing.
shit off.
Yeah, and shout out to the artists that are doing dope original creative music, but then also shout out to some of those older artists who are putting out albums. Like LL just put out an album, MC Light just put out an album. Shouts to those artists for just coming back and bringing that energy into the forefront into 2024.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Always, always, always. JK said, humans at the end of the day, he said, at the end, humans are drawn to human things. The music of the 70s and 90s sounded way more human than most stuff on the radio
Around the world. Yeah.
Real talk.
Mm.
Real talk. Yeah, music, it's so digital now. Shit just sounds like, I don't know. It don't got that vibe, that feeling. The 90s music sounded a little bit more warm, but that's technology. But there are, like, a lot of apps and stuff like that where you can make the music sound warm. You know what I saw? There's a website. I think the shit is called Suno. You could type in what kind of beat you want to make, and the group, the genre, and all of that, and the shit will make the fucking beat.
Does it sound like the group though?
Son, it's really fucking close. It's really fucking close. You could be like, yo, I want to make a Mobb Deep sounding kind of beat, and with lyrics about the streets and growing up in the hood, and word to mother, they'll give you somebody rapping on it. The whole AI will make the shit, yo. The shit is scary. The AI will. I know y'all. Some of y'all out there might have heard of that shit. I believe it's called Suno. I definitely had to, check it out, and I was bugging. I was yo. Imagine 50 years from now.
I know, it's
holy shit.
Yeah. Nah, I know. And I was just having this conversation in a meeting at work, and because AI came up, and there was a teacher who's like, yo, I use AI in the classroom. I have students ask AI the questions, then I have them answer the questions and see the difference. And yo, this professor was like, last year the answers we would get from AI were right. Now a year later, professor was like, yo, those answers are a lot better. They getting on, they getting on point. So it's getting scary. It's getting scary, but yeah, but
you can make a 90s type beat right now in fucking AI, bro. That shit is crazy. Wow.
But I gotta hold some faith and some hope in the fact that it's not going. The AI give me a Havoc sounding beat is not going to sound like the Havoc beat. It might be close.
You just said that your one of your colleagues said, yo, it's getting closer and closer to the real thing. Soon it's gonna be, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. And the alarm bells have been going off for quite some time now.
No, that's real.
The alarm bells have been going off. When you can't tell the difference between human and fake, it's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? And the alarm bells been going off, but there's no guardrails until something bad happens. You understand what I'm saying? Something out of this world is gonna happen, and then but the genie is already out the fucking bottle. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not gonna be nothing.
No.
Human beings are good at destroying themselves. What the fuck is going on? Like that's human beings. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you really want to be out of here already? Because you're about to create a sentient being. Soon they will fucking think for themselves if they not already. And if we thinking that they can think for themselves, they probably already thinking for themselves, and they just didn't tell us yet. So, good luck with that. Hate to be the conspiracy theorist of the evening, but I mean, it is what it is. And I got a lot more of that shit in my head, but I'll save that shit to later. Yeah, somebody said Skynet. Yeah, Skynet is already fucking here. Like Skynet. I just posted some shit the other day where in I think Japan or China somewhere, they getting real brain cells and creating a real brain from brain cells and putting it in robots, and the robots is being better than AI.
Yeah.
All right, man. Fuck it. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen from that, but I think there's a lot of things that could go wrong. But yo, with that being said, hip hop. Because I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Like, cause I'm gonna say that shit for another episode. We're gonna call that shit the rabbit hole. Like, and everybody, all y'all in the chat, y'all can be free to tell me all your conspiracies, and we're gonna touch on them shits one by one. You understand what I'm saying? Yo. But here's something that's not a conspiracy. The Mobb Deep album will be coming out soon. We're working on that right now. That should be dropping pretty soon. Yeah.
How close? You know me. I seen this happen, so I know some of the right questions to ask. How close is close?
Pretty close.
How many joints? Can I ask that?
How many joints am I doing?
Or how many joints do y'all have?
It's going to be on a project. I mean, yo, we already got like 13, 14 joints. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We already got like 14. I just got a record mix today. Yeah, so hey, look, somebody put something about Prodigy. I'm not gonna do that. Not today. Keep it positive. I don't want to go down the conspiracies of that.
Right.
But yeah, so we really close. You know what I'm saying? It's we almost done. Shouts out to ALC, Alchemist.
Al, shout out to Al.
Shouts out to Prodigy's family, Santana, Kiki, his son, Little Chaka, his son. Yeah. Glad we did this episode. Does hip hop need a reset? Should have reset itself, but it's a good conversation. And like I said, for the culture, sometimes we might not want to criticize our our fellow artists too bad, because they could be doing something else, right. But they are, even if the message you don't like it, they are doing something positive. You know what I mean? For the most part, some of them are still out here, wilding, but everybody can't be good. So right. Until next week, be back. Might even be back sooner than that. But thank y'all for tuning in.
All day.
You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody out there that was supporting. We'll see y'all motherfuckers next week, man. Right, thanks a lot.
And that somebody in the chat said right after this Mobb Deep album, it'll reset itself automatically. So that's what we hope. Yeah. It's on you, Hav. It's on you.
The album is the reset button. There you go. the game is on my shoulders.
We see y'all in a second. Peace.
Word.